Okay, now it's gone. So Jack told me about Iron Chariot. Um, he didn't give me a link or anything. He just said asked me to comment on religion is harmful to society. The Iron Chariot. So I had to look it up. A lot easier to find it on Google than Yahoo. But now it's time for me to go through these. Now, you'll notice something right at the start. Let me see if I can bring the page back up without goofing around with this camera. Okay. I feel like I can. He starts out with Pascal's wager, and then he quotes Voltaire. Wow, Voltaire. Okay, but let's get into the meat and potatoes of this stuff. Now, before I even did the harmful, just check this out. I wrote down a few things that I was gonna just, and that would be uh, Sunni and Shia Islam, not necessarily a body, and not necessarily the Ismaili sects of Shia Islam. Um, Backwoods sects like snake handlers and the Westboro Baptist Church, and the creationist slash homosexual craze of the last 15 years, sprung from the evangelicals. I figure I'd stick to actual Christianity, like Roman Catholicism, Eastern Orthodoxy, Oriental Orthodoxy, Syrian Church of the East, Roman Catholicism, uh, uh, Missouri Synod Lutheranism, Anglo Catholicism. Again, it's not the league with the Pope. And then the other mainline denominations. I'm not too familiar with the Protestants. Not too familiar with the Catholics. Well, I am familiar with the Catholics. But religion, right? We're talking about religion here. When it's my contention that it's one religion. But also, I include in this to Zoroastrianism, the Mandaeans, the Yazidis. You could make up your mind whether the Yazidis and the Mandaeans were outgrowths of um, pre-medieval Christianity, or they began the tumult of the beginning Saracen period, which we would remember as the Rushtun and the early Umayyads. All right, now teaches judgmental ideas, teaches postponement of enjoyment, um, makes certain ideas unquestionable, reinforces segregation. Okay, see, but let me just go through these harmful outcomes of religion because this is Iron Chariot or a refutation of it. Religions often campaign diverse topics of clothing, homosexuality, sexuality, abortion, contraception, which causes more unwanted children, and STIs, the women's rights religions have been used to defend slavery, radical segregation, sexual discrimination, discrimination against homosexuals, basically only pertaining to, in our modern day Islam. Doesn't seem like they want to come out and just say it. Dissuades societal improvement. This one is a real laugh. Because on the other side, you'll notice I have listed on here things like St. Jude's, the Mayo Clinic, hospitals, Catholic charities, battered women's shelters, most charities, the fact that the church pulled Europe out of the Dark Ages, spread literacy, it was no longer blasphemy to investigate nature, preserved pre-Christian epics, sagas, and writings, preserved mathematics, ended human sacrifice, and declared all humans equal. Galatians chapter 3, verse 28. There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither free nor slave. There is neither slave nor free man. There is neither male nor female, for you are all one in Christ. There's another part where it goes on even say there's neither barbarian nor civilized, blah, blah, blah. And just goes on and on and on. And this, Paul, the 7 authentic letters of Paul at least, spread this idea like wildfire. Whereas the Paschal letters have it as more of a patriarchal household model. Dissuade social improvement. Who were all those guys who fought to end slavery? Like William Wilberforce. They did that because of their religion, right? David Hume was totally for the conquest of India and basically England extracting its riches. But it was these stupid backward Christians that said, hey, these are human beings too, and they have a right to live happily in their own land. We should treat them as equal. But no. And then again, atheist eugenics would come along and say it's wrong to treat the sick and the elderly. They're taking up resources. Let them die out so that stronger genes can survive. Magical thinking. Religion opens the door to magical thinking by allowing oneself to accept that a lack of disproof makes something possible, or somehow 50-50 chance. Many religions specifically teach believing in no faith evidence is actually the best thing. Only Islam does, not Christianity or Judaism. It undermines the pursuit of science. Wrong. Science wouldn't have gotten off the ground without Christianity. Sorry. See, the Christians believed in a God that created the world and stepped back. Studying plant life and, wind and stuff like that, and the stars, these were no longer gods to the Christians, so they could, investigate them without being, seen as a sorcerer or a blasphemer. This undermines pursuit of science and retards progress. Taken to an extreme, this can lead to a literalist belief, such as talking snakes and that people can live inside whales, and killing infants can be justified. Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. The second narrative of the creation story in Genesis, because there's the first one and the second one. The first one calls God L, the second one calls God YHVH, also known as Lord, capitalized with all the letters. He's very anthropomorphic. I know in your English Bibles that's translated as snake, but it's actually a shiny dragon with wings. That's this giant supernatural being. Well, whatever. You don't believe it anyways, but the talking snake thing, wow, you didn't even do your research there. Um, live inside whales. Jonah was swallowed by a fish, and he went to Sheol. You know where Sheol is? Death. Hell. He died. Jonah was dead. Have you not read this? I mean, Jonah's the short. Well, Obadiah is like a paragraph long, but Jonah is one of the shortest books of the Old Testament, of any part of the Bible. It's one of the shortest, and you couldn't. It never says whale, and he died. He was dead. Beginning to question the scholarship of this. And killing infants can be justified. Again, what are you talking about? The slaughter of the infants is always commemorated as a horrible, horrible thing. But I'm only here to defend Eastern Orthodoxy, so the Old Testament really I don't care about. But even though I believe in documentary hypothesis, also known as Wellhausen hypothesis, mythology, religions often teach myths and falsehoods as truth. Creationism and the Great Flood. That's only Islam again, and a fraction of Christianity. A fraction. No Roman Catholic, no Eastern Orthodox, no Oriental Orthodox, no Assyrian Church of the East, no Church of England in any branch, Anglican, Episcopalian, not even the new Metropolitan one. So, no. Seems like you're biased by this sliver of American Christianity that nobody had believed ever. I mean, I'm going by what Christians had believed everywhere at all times, at all places, not just a popular heresy that popped up here for a little bit and then sprang down. I mean, why not say, oh, well, they don't believe in a physical world because, there was the Docete and people like Marcion and Valentinus were around. They were Christians. It's pretty silly, right? So, no, creationism completely rejected. Matra, the guy that came up with the Big Bang, was a Roman Catholic priest, and he did it because it is a proof for God. When the WMAP satellite went up and got its pictures in 2002, that destroyed one of the three pillars of the atheistic argument. So the Great Flood, yeah, well, we know the Great Flood happened. It just didn't cover the entire world. Then again, what did they mean by world in Genesis? We know there were floods that covered that whole area by the Tigris and the Euphrates. Garden of Eden, yeah, it existed at the bottom of the Persian Gulf during the Ice Age. We found the two other rivers, the Gihon and the Pison. Headwaters were at the waterfall. mankind getting kicked out, which implies that Earth is a prison. No, it doesn't. Other examples include inferiority of women. What did I just read? That they're equal? And didn't God, in the first creation account, make man and women equal in the first chapter of Genesis? So, no. Teaches conformity. Nope. Well, conformity may be in morals, but no. Um, religions do not teach to question their teachers. Obviously, you've not been in a synagogue, nor in an Eastern Orthodox Church, an Oriental Orthodox Church, or a Roman Catholic Church. You know what the term Israel means? It's one who wrestles with God. One who actually gets in a wrestling match, in a fight, in an MMA fight with the angel of the Lord, with God, basically himself. So no, and faith, blind faith, no preacher or pastor ever would. Faith means loyalty or trust. Just like sin, hamertia, means to miss the mark. So, blind loyalty? No, you're loyal to people because of your relationship to them. You have faith something will work because you've seen it work before and you know, believe in the skills of the engineer that designed it and the guy that put it together. Participation in religion supports harmful regimes and institutions. Again, this goes to Salafi extremism and Saudi Arabia with Wahhabism. Again, it's Islam. False authority figures. Yeah, I agree that the mega churches are bad. I see Billy Graham here. Fantastic that you drag that idiot out of the woodwork. But yeah, I agree. Americans should return to the Eastern Orthodox Church where we don't have leaders like that. And televangelists are all liars and scumbags like Kenneth Copeland. Resource consumption. Uh, religion is a waste of resources. No, it's not. 93 billion is donated to churches per year. Uh, which goes to Markland Home, St. Jude's, researches rare cancers in infants and toddlers. The Mayo Clinic, um, women's shelters, Catholic Charities takes care of that. Hospitals, most other charities basically, researching breast cancer and other cancers and diseases. Not to mention paying for children's education that have lived in the ghetto. So no, creates negative peer groups. Religion creates grouping of people with false ideas, such as those who are misogynistic or anti-homosexual. Let me see. The Virgin Mary, Our Lady Guadalupe. Our Lady of the Miraculous Spring. And then we have Mary Martha, Mary Magdalene, Thecla, Pelagia of Antioch. So no. And and again, this is the American hang up on homosexuality. I don't know what's wrong with the Americans. Um, yeah. Mm. Negative peer grouping. Yeah, the anti-homosexual and misogynist. Again, you mean Muslims, don't you? Teaches judgmental ideas. Who said, "Judge not, lest ye be judged"? Was that Christ? Was that Jesus of Nazareth? Oh, you mean Islam? You're still talking about Islam. Okay. Okay. Oops, my bad. Teaches postponement of enjoyment. Again, it goes into 9/11 again. Like the, you see that right there. Uh, do you have any idea what the classic Christian afterlife is? You go back to God, and He's a blazing furnace, and it's either you're either burnt up like straw or you refine away the dross from the silver. It's either unending pain or immense ecstasy. Uh, all except for the "I'm saved" crowd, which was invented by Billy Graham. Um, Christians everywhere are terrified of death. In fact, the natural instinct to be terrified of death. Reject scientific fact and medical help. Bullshit. That's only Jehovah's Witnesses. Again, Lemaitre, the Big Bang. Um, St. Jude's, the Mayo Clinic. It got us out of the Dark Ages. It helped spread literacy. It pulled Western Europe out of the Dark Ages. It preserved pre-Christian works like epics and sagas from the Nordic people who couldn't read or write, and as well as the Celts. And it preserved mathematical treatises and stuff like Euclid, and Pythagoras, and Aristotle and Socrates, all different philosophical and mathematical stuff. The great centers of learning were the monasteries. And no, that is one of the biggest myths, that religion rejects science. That's bullshit. In fact, most of the men who put Neil Armstrong on the moon were devout Christians. In fact, all of those astronauts believed in God. So I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Not to mention, Christianity ended human sacrifice, declared all humans equal, uh, preserved mathematics. I already said that one. Uh, Spread literacy. Ended slavery. That's one good thing it did. Increases crime and decreases moral behavior. I don't know where the hell you got that one from. Where did I see that one? Religious belief is associated with increased violent crime. In a study of 1,200 children in 6 counties found that children that were religious upbringing were less altruistic. And, yeah, among Islamic children, not Eastern Orthodox or Quaker or Christian children. Unprotected sex, yes. I mean, and that, oh, this is the sickening part. Increased divorce rates. They have Jews, born again Christians, other Christians, atheists, and agnostics. There's a big chunk missing out of there. It's called the Muslims that adhere to Islam. And what about the Roman Catholics and the Eastern Orthodox? You only think that there's born again Christians and other Christians? And as for the animal cruelty thing, yeah, the Quran, you said the Quran, yeah, they're fucking cruel to animals. But you know who isn't? Catholics and Orthodox. You ever heard of a guy named St. Francis of Assisi? So I'm going to stop the video right here. These arguments are just shit. They're garbage. They're garbage. I mean, you don't even have the balls to mention, say, you know what? Actually, the vast majority of this is Islam. Creationists, as if they're not a tiny fraction of the population of Christians, as if Lemaitre didn't discover the Big Bang. Catholic priest, by the way.